Today we're here with Debbie McMillan. And for everybody, Debbie, why don't you tell us what your maiden name was?
Rosback.
Oh, yes. I'm sure everybody remembers Debbie Rosback. And we're going to start by, Debbie, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing for the last 50 years? Who can believe it's been 50 years since we left those esteemed halls of South Salem High School?
Where we couldn't wear pants, we only could wear dresses, while people outside of South Salem were wearing mini skirts. We did not.
I know. Remember how we had to kneel down and they would measure how short our skirts were?
You know, one day I do remember this. It was so humiliating. I only remember the humiliating things, but
Well, of course.
I was late getting to school. I grabbed a dress out of the closet. I didn't even stop to look or anything. When I got to school, I realized the dress had shrunk and it was tight. I mean, it wasn't horribly tight, but it was tight, tighter than I ever wore, and it was short.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I thought, and I was so embarrassed. And I just wanted to get through the day, but no. Who was that mean teacher that used to? Anyway, she caught me in the hall,
One. Yeah.
humiliated me in front of everybody, would not maybe think that perhaps I was embarrassed and hadn't meant to, didn't care, had to make me feel so terrible, had to get down on my knees, and it was about that much too short, had to go home, which was really what I wanted to do anyway.
Oh, please, hurt me.
They were strict.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And if boys had a hole in the back pocket of their jeans, they got sent home.
And
Oh,
outside. And then the next year when we went to college, long hair, jeans.
oh, yeah. Oh, and of course, long hair was for boys was over their ears. Remember that?
Yes, I do. And my father thought it was horrible.
Oh, yeah. Terrible. Just terrible. Those were fun times.
And we all had the long hair parted in the middle.
Oh, yeah. Long, straight hair.
Yep.
Lots of hair. So, yeah, those were fun times.
Yes, it was. It was. I remember. I have lots of good memories of South.
Yeah. And Bob's 19-cent hamburgers.
Oh, yeah. They were 19, weren't they?
Yeah, I remember that. And gas was what, 35 cents a gallon?
Yeah.
I remember that. I can remember people going and buying $5 worth of gas, and that would just about fill up your car.
Go raid your parents' coins thrown in a basket, and you could buy a whole tank of gas that way.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That was a little different time.
So different.
Yeah.
So lots happened since then. Lots changed.
Yeah. And I was just talking with somebody the other day about whether cars had seatbelts.
Oh.
During that time.
I don't think so.
Not very many. Yeah. It was not the law that you had to wear seatbelts during that time. I don't think.
I don't remember any seatbelt.
And I think somebody said that like 1968 might be the year that cars started having seatbelts installed as a standard. I'm not sure, but
I remember.
Not all cars had seatbelts.
Yeah. And that's pretty hard to imagine.
Yeah. Very interesting.
And roll up windows.
Oh, yeah.
No air conditioning.
Yeah.
A winding roll up and roll down.
Yeah, that was different. And so after you graduated from South, what did you do?
I went to U of O. I wanted to be a teacher. That's all I ever wanted to do. Went to U of O, graduated with my teaching degree in 74 when everybody and their dog graduated with a teaching degree. So I went into graduate school and taught fourth and fifth grade in this little tiny town up in the hills from Coos Bay. So
oh my gosh.
It was just this little tiny community. Quite a culture shock, I gotta say. And when I finished there, I got my first real paid for teacher's position in Riddle, Oregon,
Oh my gosh.
which is 30 miles south of Roseburg. So I lived in Roseburg because Riddle was so small.
Do you remember how much you got paid for your first job?
$9,000. With a master's degree, I got $9,000.
I'm probably thrilled to get it.
Well, it didn't go. I had visions of a real job paying for a lot more than what that $9,000 covered. In fact, my parents had to help me out with my apartment down there because it was, it was, I was used to living on 32 cents for the last 2 weeks of every month.
Yeah.
After the bills were
So
paid.
now when you were at U of O, did you live in the dorms?
Yes, the first year I lived in the dorms. The first apartment there was Jan Barnes and Marilyn Lamb, and I had an apartment there.
I bet that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just the last 2 years were just survival. It was just.
Oh yeah.
I remember anyway. So I had. When I was in Salem, my parents bought a lot on the river when I was 10, built a house when I was 16. I spent my whole life on the river, and Ron Wiebe, who was my neighbor, he was a year older than us, and he had the river lot next door. So all of his friends were down, all of my friends were down for several years. And then when I went to college, my parents sold it and moved into town. And we were also sad to miss the rivers. So in 1977, I had the summer off. I'd finished graduate school. I'd finished teaching. And my parents invited me to come up and spend the summer with them. And I couldn't wait to do that.
Tired of your little town there, huh?
And my parents were my best friends. And they bought a boat because they didn't like the guy I was engaged to. And actually, nobody did. But so they bought a boat. The very first day, my parents and my brother and his wife moved me back, packed me up and moved me back. I didn't even get to walk in the house. We immediately got in the pickup. My brother and his wife and I drove Dad's boat down to Wallace, put it in, came all the way upriver and parked across from our old house. And there was one other boat on the river. It happened to be the guy who had bought the house next door to my old house. Married him 6 months later, 43 years ago.
Weren't your parents smart?
Weren't they smart? They were absolutely right.
Oh, that's so cute. And you've lived there ever since, huh?
Ever since, yes.
Yeah. Well, so that was a great choice. Yeah.
It was really pretty miraculous. It's been a wonderful, wonderful choice.
And then did you teach in Salem when you moved there?
I taught in Almsville. I taught 6th grade in Almsville. That first year we were married, but then Bud went and got his real estate license. I didn't even notice.
And Bud was your husband?
My husband. Mm-hmm. It was such a romantic whirlwind summer that I didn't even pay attention that he got his real estate license. And that meant he went to work for my dad, which meant they traveled all over the state. So my parents and my husband would get in the motorhome, be gone for 2 weeks at a time. And I was the new bride sitting home. So
well, that wasn't much fun.
No, and I gave up teaching, which I really, really loved, and then ended up in 1990 getting my real estate license.
Well, it sounds like that was a pretty good choice because you've been very successful at real estate, I think.
Thank you. And I love it. It's a lot like teaching.
Yeah, it is. It is. You educate your clients, and I think you've been quite successful at real estate. From what I've heard, you've won a number of awards and been on some boards. And tell me a little bit about those awards and things.
Well, I was very, very, very involved in the Salem Association of Realtors. And I was on the board for 7 years, was president in 2004, was Realtor of the Year in 2005. And then in 2018, I received the Alan Jones Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, wow.
Which, yeah. So I said, "Bud, here's my bucket list. Now I can retire." Oh,
I
no.
don't think you
No,
will.
no, I'll never. No. He
It sounds
retired
like you really
for
enjoy it.
me. I do. I do. I've made some wonderful, wonderful friends.
That's great. That's great. Well, and so what kinds of things do you look forward to with a reunion? I mean, you've been in touch with these people that you went to school with most of your life, I guess, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I went from many, many, many of our friends that I started out with in the first grade at Liberty. So I went to Liberty and then to Judson and then to South, same group of people, which I consider extremely lucky. But I love going to the reunions. I've been to all the reunions. It's just fun to see people and see what they're doing now. But you know what? When we all get together at every reunion, everybody just kind of reverts back to what we were 50 years ago, to the same people, the same fun, the same quirks. And now that most people are retired, I'm having a lot of fun with friends that I went to junior high with.
Oh, that's so great. So what kinds of things have you seen in changes in Salem over these years? I mean, you are in a somewhat unique situation in that you've seen the changes in properties and you've lived in Salem all your life. I mean, you really have had a very up close and personal view of that.
You know what's really fun about being a realtor in Salem is you'll show a house and you'll walk down the hall and you'll look at the pictures and go, "Oh, that's him. Oh." So that's fun. But Salem has grown so much. I mean, when we were in high school, we were picking cherries during the summer, every summer. And now there are houses that are 20 years old where those cherry fields, orchards used to be. It's pretty interesting how much we've grown. But we've still got that same kind of small town. We're a very, very nice town, and I love living here still.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, having the river helps, but as far as changes, it's just mainly growth. I think everything else has pretty much stayed the same. Although I remember fighting so hard for the what am I trying to say? The restaurant downtown, the convention center, and the riverfront. Those have made such great, and people didn't want them, hated them, really thought it was a waste of time and energy, but they've been really big, big assets.
And is that like where Boise Cascade used to be? Is that?
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Do you remember in high school, we could be walking downtown and the wind would shift and knock us to our knees?
Yeah.
That smell from Boise Cascade.
Right.
That is now totally gone. There's a big multi-use building there, apartments upstairs and offices downstairs. The riverfront that we used to just ignore is now a beautiful park that gets used all summer long. It's a beautiful, beautiful asset. And then the convention center. People said, why would anybody need a convention center in Salem? They can go to Portland. But that is something that finally got approved and has been a huge asset.
And they still have like the Summer Art Festival, I imagine, in Bush Park, which was always a lot of fun. And
yes, they didn't have that last year, which was
well,
very sad, but it'll be back.
Everybody missed out on all the fun things.
Everything last year, yeah.
Including our reunion, but hopefully we'll be able to do that this year. I think September 18th.
Right.
We have planned for that, and Patrice and a number of other members of our class have been working very hard to put that together, and I think that that's going to turn out to be a very nice gathering.
I think it'll be lots of fun, and I hope everybody comes.
Yeah, I do too. I think it'll be really nice. So is there anything else you'd like to add to our little conversation here?
I don't think so, but I appreciate you interviewing me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the reunion.
I'm looking forward to it too. Thanks so much, Debbie.
Thank you, Luanne.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.